Welcome to the April edition of Northeast Journal. I'm your host, Joe Cullen. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll meet an area dancer who inspires people all across the nation. We'll say goodbye to a retiring school superintendent, and we'll see an artist at work making stained glass creations. All that and more is straight ahead on Northeast Journal. Hello everyone, and welcome to the April edition of Northeast Journal. I'm your host, Joe Cullen. Every month on Northeast Journal, we give you an inside look at the people and places that make up the northeast section of the Twin Cities. The Inspiration Dance Center in Matamidi is the perfect place to find one of the most inspiring dancers you'll ever see. Photographer Jeff Melcock and I visited the dance center to meet Mikayla Holmgren. Everything about Mikayla Holmgren's dancing is inspirational, from her movements, to her technique, to her expressions. It's fitting then that Mikayla trains at the Inspiration Performing Arts Center in Matamidi, since it has inspiration in its name.
This is my passion because dancing makes me happy.
Mikayla has Down syndrome, and even though her parents wanted to give her every opportunity possible, they had no idea that she'd ever become an accomplished dancer.
You know, having a child with special needs, there's a lot of, she was actually born quite early with a lot of medical issues, and you're looking at this little 4-pound baby going, what is her future going to be like? And it's amazing to see that with all the surgeries she has had when she was a baby, to see how strong she is now is a miracle in itself.
When Mikayla was about 4 years old, her parents, Sandy and Craig, thought dancing might be a good outlet for her.
So many times when you have a special needs kid, you're kind of on a separate or a different road, not necessarily a bad road, but just a different road. And this is a chance for her to be a part of an activity that includes everybody, and she can participate and hold her own with everyone else.
Mikayla has trained at a number of schools, with the last couple of years being at the Inspiration Performing Arts Center in Matamidi. Owner Katie Owings talks about what makes Mikayla such an amazing dancer, as well as an award-winning choreographer.
Mikayla has the ability to really take a step back and listen and apply correction, and she has amazing amount of focus on the dance floor. And so through that, her technique and her capabilities have really grown, I've seen, in the last couple years.
Many kids lose interest in dance somewhere along the way, but Mikayla's parents noticed that not only was she still passionate about dance, she was beginning to win awards for it.
Some of the comments, from even the judges, from independent people, judges' favorite for the smile and the passion and things that she brings out during a dance. All of her instructors, the way the kids have embraced her, all positive feedback.
The Holmgrens have enough trophies, videos, and photos to fill an entire room. They're always in the crowd at every one of Mikayla's performances, including a dance that she choreographed and won an award for last year to the song Burn Bright.
It brings me to tears quite a bit, watching her do what she needs to do, and especially when she's dancing and just nailing her whole dance. And a lot of times I have to go back and watch the video again just to see what she did, because I can't see through the tears.
For Owings and the other instructors at Inspiration Performing Arts, Mikayla is a model student.
She has this way of illuminating people all around her, so and lifting others and encouraging others and inspiring and empowering. And in fact, she's a mentor here at the center, so she gives back, not only through her dancing, but in other ways of service.
Mikayla loves sharing her expertise with younger dancers.
I like little kids, but I always mentor the small children on Mondays. It's so cute, I love it.
Mikayla keeps busy outside of dance with gymnastics, cheer squad, and an upcoming missions trip to Haiti. She also just found out that she was accepted into Bethel University and will start studies there in the fall of 2016.
I was in tears yesterday, and I for Bethel I accepted for college, so I did that, and that made me feel happy.
I believe in you'll come running.
There's no doubt Mikayla will continue to inspire no matter what stage she is on throughout her life. A White Bear Lake artist is starting to get noticed for his one-of-a-kind stained glass creations. Let's check out Garry's Glass. It's not always easy to find a hobby after retiring. Not only did White Bear Lake resident Garry Dawson discover a hobby he loved after he left the workforce, he was able to turn it into a business. He tells us what he loves about creating stained glass masterpieces.
I think it's just the beauty of it, the variety of colors, the mix and matching of the colors, and there's a lot of different textures. I mean, you can tell even in what I've got here, here's one without any color, but the textures is what makes it.
Dawson first learned about stained glass through a community college class and has since become a master through trial and error.
Yeah, little by little you start to learn. You learn what angles you can cut and what you can't cut, and you're less aggressive, because the more aggressive you are, the more you break. So it's a learning process, and it's like anything else in any trade work. You just get better as the more you do it.
Dawson creates pieces for clients as well as for his family. His home is decorated in many of his creations, including one that is his favorite.
I've got an eagle, and I introduced a lot more color into it than an eagle would normally look like, because normally they're just kind of black and white. But I introduced some blues and grays, and it was fairly complicated, but it really rewarding.
Depending on the size, a piece can take Dawson a few weeks to complete. But it goes by quickly for him, since it's something he loves doing.
It's nice to be old and have a hobby that keeps you going. I just can't wait to get up every day and get started.
For more information, visit garrysglass.com. It's time for a short break. We'll be right back with an interview with retiring District 622 Superintendent Patty Phillips.
Hey Greg, what are you doing in the bushes?
Oh, nothing. Just doing some bird watching. Yeah.
This doesn't seem like such a great place for bird watching.
All right. I was just trying to get a look inside my city hall. I don't know any other way to get information.
Greg, you're such a silly man. You don't have to be a creepy spy. Why don't you just watch GTN?
GTN?
Yeah, GTN, the Government Television Network. It's on cable channel 16. They got a ton of information of everything that's going on in the 12 different communities in the northeast suburbs of Ramsey and Washington County.
No kidding. So you mean I can get all this information by watching channel 16 at my own home?
You better believe it. And they've got all their shows on their website too. That's gtn.org.
Wow, I should go check out channel 16 right away.
Hey, what are you guys doing over there? Government Television Network. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/GTN16.
Welcome back to Northeast Journal. After 10 years as the superintendent of District 622, which includes North St. Paul, Maplewood, and Oakdale, Patty Phillips is retiring at the end of the school year. I'm joined now in the studio by Superintendent Phillips. Patty, I want to thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Joe. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. I know we've interviewed you, over the last 10 years for various school functions and in the studio before. And before we get too deep into the interview, can you give us a little bit of background, what jobs you had before you came to District 622?
Sure. I was a teacher in Duluth for 3 years, and then I stayed home with my children for 10 years. And we moved to Virginia, Minnesota on the Iron Range, where we lived for 30 years. And for 20 of those years, I was, first of all, a kindergarten teacher, and then I was a curriculum director, and then I was a principal, and then I was the superintendent. And now I've been here for 10 years, so 33 years in education. It's been a great ride.
Well, I'm sure you would agree these last 10 years have gone by really quickly. It seems
it's like a second.
Yes.
It seems like the older you get, the more quickly the years go. So I can't believe it's been 10 years.
And do you know why the decision to retire?
Just time. There comes a time in each girl's life when she must pull the plug. So it's just time. My husband is working has a position in northern Minnesota, and so we're going to retire up at our cabin at Lake Vermilion.
Great.
So.
And 10 years, you've packed a lot into those 10 years. What are some things that stand out for you, some highlights or some accomplishments that you're particularly proud of?
Well, I fell in love with the people in this area when I took the position. I first met the school board, then met the staff, and we have just amazing employees at the school district. It's a big organization, a lot bigger than what I'd been used to. We have 1,500 employees. Our buses drive 1.2 million miles a year, 550 bus routes. People don't know we serve 10,000 meals a day, 2,500 breakfasts and 7,800 lunches. So it's a big operation, and the staff just care about our kids. The community cares about the school district. So it's been just a pleasure to be here. I worried about if I'd be able to have that small town feel, because I'm used to, Duluth was larger, but Virginia is a small town. The town of Virginia has about as many people as the school district's number of students.
Wow.
We have 10,600 students now. There's an intimacy here. There's a small town feel that I just fell in love with 10 years ago, and it's been wonderful. So I've loved the staff, I've loved the students, I've loved the things that we've done as a school community partnership. Our legislators are wonderful to work with. Our police chiefs are wonderful. The school board members give time and so many hours to making the district a strong place, and our staff care about kids, so it's wonderful.
Well, yeah, you mentioned the communities, and all of them, North St. Paul, Maplewood, Oakdale, even though they have growing populations, there really is that kind of small town feel, and it seems like people, really do care what's going on in their schools, whether they have kids enrolled there or not. They want, strong, healthy schools and care about the students in them.
We have such giving communities, and it's really reflected. I've never seen students that want to give back and serve their community. I'm in Rotary, which is a wonderful organization. Our kids at Tartan have raised, they've been a champion in the whole United States for the amount of money they've raised for cancer research, Relay for Life. North High School, the same thing. They just won a big award from Family Connect. So there's just, our Project Family Means, there are just organizations, and the kids want to give back, and they've just got big hearts, and I love it. We just had a student that won the Facing Race Ambassador Award. She won $10,000 for her work in closing the achievement gap, a Tartan student, and she won $10,000 and gave it back to the program at the school district that she was a part of to close the achievement gap. So the kids just have hearts that are huge, and I think it's a reflection on the way they were raised and the good old-fashioned family values here of giving back. So
well, we often, hear in the news a lot of the athletic achievements that have gone out of schools, but I know I get newsletters from the high schools and from the just general District 622. It seems like yeah, there's a lot of scholastic achievement too. Kids, in the different clubs and
Absolutely.
programs are scoring high
Yeah.
in various tests. Seems like a lot of bright kids there.
I think the kids academically, both of our high school principals have had a goal to ramp up the rigor. And so, in fact, I brought the numbers so everybody can see what happened last school year. In 13-14, our kids at Tartan and North earned 3,825 University of Minnesota credits at the same time they were attending their high schools. It's a program called CIS, College in the Schools. And 2 years ago, we were the number 2 in the state of Minnesota for having kids earning the most credits. And what does that do for families and kids? It achieved the equivalency of $1,774,227 in tuition costs that they avoided because they took these classes at school. And so I'm proud of the rigor. We have advanced placement classes and college in the school classes. So our kids are really competitive academically. Also, our theater programs, our instrumental music, our voice music, our art programs, we've got award winners in every one of those arenas. So they get a really well-rounded education, and plus they give back to the community. So it's a perfect place to go to school, and I love our diversity. We've increased, when I came, we were about 20% free and reduced lunch, 20% kids of color, and we're at 50% in both of those now. And it just adds a richness. The kids are going to school in what the world is going to be like that they live in. So it's very diverse, and with that are wonderful perspectives. We have 58 first languages other than English.
Wow.
So it's,
It's amazing. I mean, I'm sure even just from when you started, like you said, I mean, things
Yeah.
have been changing and evolving the makeup of our schools
Absolutely.
over those 10 years. And,
Yeah.
and I can attest to, you mentioned the theater programs. We, several months ago, did a story at Tartan on the Wizard of Oz that they were putting on.
Well, I just have a
Oh.
tweet. I have a tweet. Well, this is the girl that won the Facing Race Ambassador Award. I brought the Wizard of Oz picture. It was fabulous. I tweeted this picture. You know what else I love? I brought some tweets. My walls are full of tweets. I love to put the picture. This is a woman, Miss Vivian, and she retired from like 30 years working in the public sector. She decided to go back and volunteer at one of our schools. This is her niece and her niece's son. All three of them volunteer at John Glenn Middle School. So we've got this community partnership where people just want to give back to the school, and I think it's a rarity, the amount of people we have that just want to help at the schools. So yeah, we've got the theater program. We've got, this gal's been the chair of Relay for Life at Tartan, I don't know how many years, and we're just, an award-winning entity. We've got kids like this one that just arrived from Africa. The look on her face is because of the way our staff are so engaging, and they want to make every single child included and belong. So I'm just, I'm like a proud mom. I love the place. Can you tell?
Definitely. Well, yeah, when we were chatting before we started interviewing, you were showing me pictures of, just even what the kindergarten teachers do. And
our 3 police chiefs. We had a Monday night after a long day, we had a conversation about race and the changing diversity in our communities. All 3 of them came and are just so supportive. So I feel lucky to have landed here, really lucky.
That's great. I know there's other organizations, the Oakdale Business and Professional Association. I've been to some of their meetings before where, you've spoken, or they always have reports from the principals and
I
stuff
look
too.
at OPBA, and I've got a picture here on Paul Ranke. Met him through OPBA, city councilor in North St. Paul. He was one of the tri-chairs for our operating referendum. We renewed it in 2011, and he came forth and worked, I can't tell you how hard. We had a tri-chair from each of our 3 communities. We have 2 counties, 7 communities, 3 large communities and 4 smaller communities. And we passed that operating levy at 68%, the highest percentage we ever have. And without people like Paul Ranke from OPBA, people from our communities helping us, it's hard to do it alone. You need that partnership. So it's been wonderful.
So I know, there was a process, a search for, your successor, and what kind of advice would you give to the next superintendent of District 622?
Put people before paper. We're in a people business. Get out and get to know the people in the community and in the schools. Relationships are key, and engagement with students and staff. And of course, the bottom line, we all have to worry about the funding, and we're struggling a little bit there. We take in $1,200 less than the 7-county metro average, which equals $13 million less a year to work with. So we're lean and mean, but I think we need to tell our story, and I think the next thing the board's going to be looking at is, are we going to ask for more funding? And of course, that taxpayers have to reach into their wallets, and sometimes that's tough, but I think we have a pretty compelling story. We've been very fiscally accountable, and we need to have our kids compete with kind of an equal playing field. So that would be a challenge for the new leader, to get to know and build those relationships and get to know the people so you can tell the stories, because the stories sell the district, and it's a wonderful place.
Definitely. And we're just about out of time here, but you know, like I said, you're going to be spending a lot of time at your cabin, but something tells me before too long you'll probably be pretty busy doing something with people.
I will be, because I'm going to be lonely at the cabin. I'm already worried about that. In the winter, there aren't many year-round residents on our road, so I'll get my photo albums in order. I might do some writing. I like photography. I like gardening, and then we'll see what the future holds.
Well, and I'm sure you won't be too much of a stranger, maybe make an appearance or two at some District 622 events.
When I come to town, I want to read stories and visit the classrooms and come back, because this has been my new home for 10 years, and I've loved every minute of it.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming today, and congratulate you on 10 years of great service here and all your years teaching throughout the state. Really appreciate everything you've done.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. And it's time for another short break. We'll be right back with more of Northeast Journal in just a minute.
Stanley, what on earth are you doing?
Well, the film,
Didn't you say you always wanted to be in pictures?
Well, yes I did, but not like this.
Stanley, it's all about television nowadays. Look at this flyer I was handed at the high school game last night. It says you too can make TV. Volunteer with On Location TV 19 and we'll show you how.
Well, Ollie, what do you think that means?
Stanley, pick up that film reel. Oh. It means that if you volunteer with On Location TV 19, you too can make TV.
Well, Ollie, what kind of TV? Oh!
If you volunteer for On Location TV 19, you can cover high school sporting events, community concerts, parades, and much more.
Do you think that's why they had cameras at the game last night?
Why, certainly. That's why they had those announcers, instant replay, and all that modern TV stuff.
Ollie, do you think that I could operate one of those TV cameras?
Why, of course you could. The folks at TV 19 will show you how.
Ollie, are we still living in the 1930s?
No, of course not, you silly Willy. Why do you ask such a question?
Well, then why are we in black and white?
That's what they call special effects nowadays. I'm sure if you wanted to appear in color, all you'd have to do is ask.
Can we be in color, please?
We're almost out of time, but let's find out how a simple idea of bringing people together to play games turned into a fun, community-oriented business in White Bear Township. Photojournalist Jeffrey Wilson has the story.
It's like you're playing in your mom's basement. I said, oh, that's what we can call it. And that's where the name came from, and it stuck.
Out of the basement and onto Main Street, where your fate can be determined by the roll of a dice. Tabletop gaming has seen resurgence in recent years, in large part to the popularity of modern Euro-style board games, which concentrate on strategy while downplaying conflict.
Well, that's what games are for fun.
Even in an increasingly digital world.
Back in the day, video games, you do the couch thing and it was fun. Your buddies were over, that was cool. Nowadays, everything's online and like talking to headsets, which is cool too, and I can hang out with people that are half the country away. But at the same time, like it never quite compares to just being there.
tabletop gaming opens up a whole world of creativity.
You can make the game whatever you want. You don't have to follow Bethesda and BioWare's rules in storytelling. It's your story, and you can make it whatever you want.
It brings people together, strengthening old friendships and forging new ones.
You're being a lot more social, and if you've played RPGs, you know that half of it is more just BSing half the time and not playing the game, and that's a lot of the fun.
Now your mom is in it. And I've played probably hundreds of people over the course of a couple worlds and regionals and stuff, and I've maybe come up against like one person that I was like, I wouldn't hang out with that guy outside of the game. You know, everyone else has been super awesome.
That's what gave Dan Pettit the inspiration for Your Mom's Basement while working late nights at Perkins.
We used to have a whole bunch of kids from Century College come over and play mostly Magic the Gathering, lots of other different games like that. And they would sit there all night and drink coffee and eat food, and I jokingly said to them, like, God, we should open up a shop that sells game supplies and food. We'd make a fortune.
An idea that has exploded in popularity.
Yes and no. It's nice that we're super busy, but we also have to turn people away because we don't have space, and that's not good. Because then you start getting the reputation, yeah, I don't go there because there's never a place to sit. It's always too busy. And you know, that's not good, because eventually that gets to be what you're known for, is just never having a place to set up. And we're trying to get rid of that.
Your Mom's Basement is a place gamers can gather, play their games, be social, purchase their products, and even grab something to eat.
There's a lot of people come in here and they say, oh, I've never done anything like this before. What they do is they kind of see what's going on.
It has been so popular that after only 2 years, more space is needed to accommodate all the people that attend their events.
Table 3, Jesse L., Sean H.
We're going to try to make this place opened up for at least 40 to 50 more seats.
And for those marathon gaming sessions, they're even open late.
Late night gaming, to my knowledge, no other game store is open 7 days a week till 1 a.m. So if you work late, we'll still have time for you.
That's all we have time for. Thanks for tuning in, and join us again next month for another edition of Northeast Journal.